slides are going to present?
Yeah, I'll just share my screen. I do not see the share option here. Okay, I do see it now. Fine.
Perfect.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So should we start?
Yep. And then if they have questions or so forth, if they just want to put them in the chat, and then I'll read them out at the end to let Avik answer them at the end of the session. So thanks, everyone. And go ahead, Avik.
Thank you. Hello everyone, this is Avik. I am the org admin for the Linux Foundation Google Summer of Code projects. So with regards to that, I have been doing some exercises with the students, connecting students to different orgs and the program manager for open printing as well. So I have been involved in a couple of community building activities as well. So I was looking at things with respect to the perspective of Zephyr. I was talking to students with respect to Zephyr, their perception, and there are certain observations from my side with respect to Zephyr, which I wanted to present here. Okay, so what is the what is the current state? I mean, what is Zephyr? There seems to be an echo. Hello. Okay, it's good now. So what is the current state? What is Zephyr currently to a student? So I had put up this question to a couple of students from different schools with whom I interact for a couple of programs, and I wanted to check what they know about Zephyr. So a couple of things came. Couple of things came up. So there is a knowledge gap with respect to the student community. The first thing which I face from them is, what is this project all about? I have heard of Arduino. I do some IoT programming in Arduino or my ESP boards. I work in Linux. I have, I have been using Linux for a couple of days. But what is this project all about? What is Zephyr? What is it used for? So this is the question that comes up from the students. So they are not very aware of what Zephyr is all about. So even when I try to look into the Slack community, which is very vibrant and very active, and I have got help from the community couple of times with when I was just starting with Zephyr and I was just trying to do basic programming. So the community is very helpful and very vibrant. But if you see closely, it's mainly experienced folks which are there in the community. So we do not have too many students in the community. So until and unless we have students, this project, we cannot make people grow from the grassroots level. So like other orgs, if I compare it with other orgs, the students, they start learning about the project, they contribute, and they gradually mature, and they become the mentors and carry the baton forward. So this thing is probably missing in Zephyr, which I have seen, and the main problem is the knowledge gap. Students are not aware of this project. So another thing is, even if few of them know about Zephyr, but the question comes like how I contribute, because I do not know and don't know much about Zephyr, where to start from. Yes, there are tutorials in the website, in the Zephyr site, like startup tutorials with some boards, like the basic Hello World programming. But after that, what do I do? So these are the questions. Another thing which is probably the reason for this lack of awareness is like we have not have Zephyr in any of the open source programs like Google Summer of Code or other programs as of now. So the main introduction of an org to a student comes from these projects. So there is this kind of programs have been doing a great job in introducing students to a org, doing a community building from the base. So since we didn't have Zephyr in any of these open source programs, so this is another reason for the lack of awareness. The second thing is hardware availability. This is another major problem. For a student, IoT is mainly about Arduino or ESP. They sometimes work out things on Raspberry Pi. They do some hobby projects in Raspberry Pi. So these boards are easily available everywhere and they are very cheap. They're really cheap, and all the students can afford that. They can play around with these boards, they can work. So do the, I mean, the hobby somebody who is trying to taking this up as a hobby, they also can buy an Arduino board or an ESP that is very cheap. So now if I compare it with Zephyr, yes, I know that ESP compatibility with ESP is there, but the best supported boards from like real boards or NRF boards or Nordics boards are still not available everywhere. I mean, I'm from India, and when I was trying to learn about Zephyr, all that I could have is the ESP board. I could try out things in my ESP32, because other boards are not that easily available in India, and even if they are available, they add on to a lot of import duties and all these things, which increases the price to a great extent, and that is probably not affordable for all students. So this is another problem. So I try to work with few students with ESP boards, I mean, I try to make them aware of Zephyr, but then when it came down to using a board, they didn't have any option other than using an ESP. And and it looks like the basic support with ESP is there, but it's not in comparison to the other boards which have a very good compatibility with Zephyr. But I'm sure that the community is already working on ESP, and down the line there will be more improvements on that. So simulators, this is another thing. Like, if simulators are also even available, so students can work on it, that will help out students. So I have heard that simulators, especially with respect to RIX-V, are coming up. So I'm hoping that this will solve out some problems with respect to trying out things from a student perspective. The next one is mentoring. This is one of my favorite topics when it comes to community building. Like, everybody can follow the basic tutorials from the web pages or the Zephyr tutorials that are already available. But the next thing which comes up is like they feel confused, like which area should I contribute next. I have done a basic programming, but now if I want to contribute for Zephyr, which area should I first learn, or which thing should help me out? There are multiple things, multiple areas, and I mean, this is very confusing for a student. Like, they question like which area should I start, or whom to approach for help. I mean, sometimes they feel very silly. They feel like not silly. I mean, uh, they feel shy in asking a question. Whether this question will be too silly to be asked in Slack. Is this? I mean, what will others think? Is this not a very silly question? So these are some problems which comes up when we see it from a student perspective. So if we can identify a group of mentors who want to volunteer. So if we can have a group or a separate channel in Slack for Zephyr, a separate platform where the newbies can ask questions and people will be there to guide them, to help them do the handholding, then probably that ice will be broken, and we might see a lot of more contributions from the student communities. So why I'm talking about, you might think like, why I'm talking too much about the students, why I'm concerned about the students, because uh, I have been working closely for Google Summer of Code or other programs. So and over there, it's mainly about the students, and I have seen this path where the student grows out to be to be a mentor and then a contributor, so rather to be a contributor and then a mentor. So this thing I think can help Zephyr if we can work on it. So these are the problems which I mentioned. But to support this vision statement of Zephyr, I copied this statement from Kate's slide from fourth. So I mean, to support this vision statement of Zephyr, what is it that needs to be done, or what can be improved on? That is the main question. So there is no point discussing about the problems if we cannot move to a solution. So I think these are in my opinion, these are the few things which can be tried out, which can help out on different aspects, like spreading the news. If we can have student sessions, if we can talk to students in groups, if we can talk to their different clubs, make them aware of Zephyr, what it is all about, have more and more blog posts, so that people can try out things, people can play around things, people can do things on their own, and that might help. So this connection is required with the students to teach them, do this basic handholding, like Zephyr is this, Zephyr, you can do this with Zephyr, or these are the things. This is not something that I mean, if you work on it, you'll be able to contribute for that. So that area needs to be worked on. And also we need to show the outcome, like already we see in different presentations of Zephyr, like people have developed a smart dustbin, or a smart shoe, or a smart gloves. These kind of projects, what can be worked on, or what is the outcome of Zephyr, or using Zephyr, what can be developed? These things needs to be presented more and more, so that the interest level grows and people can see the end of the tunnel, like how is Zephyr revolutionizing things. Hardware availability, I have already talked about. If the semiconductor companies can help out on this regards, making more and more hardwares available, or if we can sponsor some hardware at least to this interested group, so that they can have the hardware and try out things. If we can sponsor some projects giving them the hardwares, so this will also be helpful. Simulators, if the simulators are available, then nothing better than that. And the mentors, which I have already spoken about, we need to identify a group of mentors. Maybe there can be a dedicated channel where students or other newbies can shoot out their questions, and do not hesitate to ask a question in a broader group. So when the group becomes smaller, and when we have more student friendly people who are available for one-on-one sessions with the students, dedicated mentors, they will feel comfortable asking questions and breaking the ice. But I'm sure, like if we have 20 students working on, I mean, asking questions, finally maybe out of that 8 to 9 would grow out to be super contributors down the line. But at least things that ecosystem needs to be built up. What's the plan? Few things I have already started from my end, with the guidance from Kate, obviously. So I started talking to different student groups and clubs at different universities, and try to make them aware of what Zephyr is all about. So this is on the initial level, to just spread the news, like this is this is an excellent RTOS, and this is the future which you need to be a part of. You are already contributing for other open source projects, but have you heard of Zephyr? You can try out this. So this thing I'm trying out. Talking about Zephyr in different forums in the student communities. The next thing will be to have our advocates, the Zephyr advocates, give their talks on Zephyr in the coming days. And also I'm planning to have some hackathons and contests with the students, where they can play around this area of Zephyr, and come up with some cool ideas, or have some contest where we can recognize people. And I also will be working with the concerned group to see if some boards can be available to the student groups who want to work on certain projects with respect to Zephyr. And probably another idea with respect to ESP, like we can work out to see that those things which are missing with respect to ESP boards, if that can be worked out. So since ESP board, ESP32, and these boards are very cheap and easily available in many places, if the missing gaps can be over, if that area can be overcome, we can have more people work around these boards, or if simulators can be made available, that can also be a good idea. So I'm also working on that area. And Google Summer of Code or LFMP, this is an important aspect, so which we need to work on. Like if we can have Zephyr in these programs, this will increase the visibility, and this will have more help in connecting with the students in a better way. So this is mainly the things which I have been facing. So the main part which is a problem which I have seen from different students is like they are not aware of Zephyr. So that area has to be worked out, and then we need to show them the path, like you know you have played around on this area, fine, you have tried the basic things, fine, but this is the next, you need to work on this module, or this module is meant for this thing, so that those things needs to be worked out in more details. So we do have good documentations for Zephyr, but probably there are areas where more and more work has to be done with respect to this area of connecting with the students. So we need to go down to the very basic levels. So people who are already contributing, maybe they are already experienced in this area, and we are talking about the higher segments in the learning curve, but we need to also focus on the lower segments of the learning curve, so that we can handhold the students, so that we can get them into this project and work out with them to increase their contribution. Well, so I also wanted to open up some time for discussion or questions. So if any of you have any questions, you can feel free to ask, and I'll be happy to answer that or work out on that with you.
Avik, I'm curious, outside of the ESP board, is there another hardware platform that you find is or and I know there's a lot of variants of the ESP, and I know, Espressive has been helping to work on improving that support. Is there another hardware platform that you see is easily available in the various regions and so forth that maybe we, can, identify and work on trying to get support in Zephyr for? So that's one question I'd have.
Yeah, apart from ESP, it's Arduino. So generally, all types of Arduino boards are available. They are also very easily available, and Raspberry Pi. So these three boards are generally very easily available. So even ESP, all types of starting from your camera modules to Node MCU to ESP32, 38 pin, and 30 pin. All these things are available, and the different types of Arduino boards.
Okay. Yeah, and I know we have a fair amount of simulator support today. The QEMU is supported, Renode is supported, that they've been supported for a long time. So I think maybe I don't know if it's just an exposure issue there as far as the simulators go, as far as having understanding or so forth. But I know that's been in place for a long time. So, okay. But yeah, if there are specific or do we know variants or boards that you come across, definitely and I'm sure that people will be happy to see about trying to get support for those, because in this day and age, it's pretty easy usually to port to another variant of something on Zephyr. So.
Right. That's right, Kumar. So, Kumar, one more thing is like, where are we with respect to the simulator? I mean, is there something that can be expected very soon?
It's there today. It's been there for since since we started, as far as I remember. So we've always had integration with QEMU. We typically always have for every architecture, there's at least one QEMU target and platform supported. In addition to the QEMU targets, like I said, Renode is supported on a number of several platforms as well. I think mostly a few of the RISC-V platforms. I know recently, just in the 2.5 release, there was also added support for the fixed virtual models from ARM. So there's a couple of platforms that's now supported on. And then I think like there's some other vendor-specific simulators that are also supported, like NSIM from ARC and Synopsys. So that support's been there for forever. If you get the SDK downloaded as part of Zephyr, QEMU is packaged as part of that for all those platforms. So you can go look and see that there are specific board targets. Typically, there's a couple cases that overlap hardware where we have like a QEMU underscore x86 or QEMU underscore RISC-V plat targets that are specific board targets to that QEMU simulation.
Okay. So is there any documentation or something which can be passed on to the students which they can try out?
I had to look. I would imagine we do have board ports for or as part of the board port for those things. I can't, I can take a look and see the documentation and definitely send some pointers and links as far as that goes. And there's definitely general information about running again with the simulators as part of the documentation and things about like how to, for example, like run GDB and connect that to the simulator and do things of that nature. So.
Okay.
Yep. Drivers for Zephyr on Arduino ESP32 are at least developed as for free RTOS. So I don't know. I know there's been a lot of work from, and I thought, but maybe he's not on, Silvio from Espressive has been contributing a lot of activity around ESP32 support. So obviously, the free RTOS support, I think, is what Espressive has historically delivered as part of their standard product. So that obviously is going to be at a level above and beyond where Zephyr has been, just because we're playing catch up. But there is a lot of constant activity around the ESP32 platform to that question. So. And then Andrew said, you didn't hear this from his promise, but it's not unlikely in the near future you'll be able to hack Zephyr on the audio DSP on the Intel Chromebooks. I don't know if anyone else has any other questions or talking anything else they wanted to.
I joined late, but is there kind of a place where this discussion is going on that people could follow, like a mailing list or a Slack channel about Zephyr for newbies? Not having a newbies channel where people can ask questions, but about this sort of meta discussion.
So was the question like if there is anything in the Slack channel where we can have this kind of discussions?
Yeah, I think Marty's asking about whether that for those interested in contributing mentorship or other things to help in this arena, I don't think we have a forum for those who may be interested to discuss this. In addition to, I think it is probably a fairly easy thing for us, obviously, to create a newbie channel or whatever we want to call it on Slack for as you suggested, not just for people who are students, but anyone who may be new to Zephyr that maybe has some getting started type of questions and so forth. So I think those are some easy things. But yeah, I think there's kind of just the general question of where do we kind of discuss the general topic you're kind of raising, and for those who are interested in it.
Right. So having that kind of forum will be very helpful, I guess.
Okay, so maybe offline we can get with and figure out opening up a new maybe Slack channel for both, you know, the new interest, you know, if someone has just a random question, but then also for those who are interested in this. And I don't know, I don't know if Kate's on, and I don't know how much overlap or not there is with the work she had been doing with the ambassador program here, and so forth, as to whether it makes any sense to try to, you know, overlap this with those activities or not.
Yeah, I can have a word with her and check that out.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you everyone. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop me an email and we can communicate from there.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.